Part 3, finishing up our thumb for our mitten. We want to take the end tail of the working yarn where we cinch down the top, and I just do a sew back and forth a few times to secure that hole. And now we're going to mattress stitch down the side to close it into a tube. So it's like you're folding it in half again and mattress stitching it back and forth to make it a round. And then we're just picking up that piece of yarn that's in between the V of our stitches. And once we get this all the way down, then when we get to the end, we want to close the round, and I kind of take the two tail ends of the working yarn and I weave them back and forth together and knot them together to secure. And don't remove your tails yet once you get down to the end. Here's how our mattress stitch is looking, but we're going to also use these same tails to whip stitch this thumb to our mitten body. Okay, now to attach our thumb, we want to put our mitten inside out again. So the inside is facing us now, and the right side is on the inside. Decide with your thumb what you want to be the inside and what you want to be the outside. And remember, we want to put right sides together. And so we just put the thumb, it's right side out, and then we push it through the thumb hole, and our mitten body is inside out. So we have right sides together now with it this way. And then we are going to take these end tail yarns, and again we're going to whip stitch it all the way around. And personally, I just like putting the tail ends of the thumb to the bottom of the thumb hole, and I start there and I work my way all the way around. And then I secure them, and I do about 2 whip stitches per each stitch that I go through, and I go through both layers each time. And I like doing 2 because, again, this is a joint where it's going to get a lot of movement, a lot of pull, so we want to make sure it's really secured to the mitten body. And I'll speed this up, but we'll go all the way around. And then once I get all the way around, if you have a shorter end of your tail yarn, you have 2. So I like to leave both of them on, because if you run out of yarn, you can just start back down at the bottom and work your way up to the other side and meet in the middle. And then knot them together, weave in the ends, and then cut off any excess. But I just like keeping the tails on till I know for sure that I have everything sewn up the way I like it, and then the very last thing I do is cut them off. And so here I am taking the other tail and weaving it and whip stitching it kind of up, meeting the other one. And now I'm just trying it on before I cut them out to make sure I don't have any holes, that I didn't miss any stitches. Once everything's looking good, or if you need to go back and do a few more whip stitches, feel free and do that. So I have like one little area I didn't like, so I weave it through, and then I do a few extra stitches. Then I knot them together, weave in the ends, and cut off the excess. So next I will show you how to add on an optional button. I have these exact buttons listed in my Amazon storefront under Project Ideas, Other Crafting Supplies, and these are the 5/8 inch button. So I take 3 pieces of excess yarn and I knot them together. And then I put the knot to the inside at the top where the hole was that we cinched together on one side of the hole. And I feed through the ends of those 3 pieces of yarn, and then I do a tight braid, and I braid it slightly longer than I want it to be. And it's sometimes a little bit easier if you hold the mitten like between your legs, so you can kind of pull on those 3 strands to make them nice and tight. And then you kind of just gauge how long you want the braid to be so it's enough to slip over that button. Once you have the braid done, then we're going to feed these ends again through our needle and put it onto the other side of the hole so it makes an arch of where we cinch down together the finger top or the finger cap, and I pull it through, and then I do a few more of a little bit of the braid. If it needs it, you can braid more here, and then I take each strand and I feed it over and through the part that we knotted it together, and then I knot each of the strands together again to secure them all down nice and tight. And then if you have any long ends, you can definitely weave them in, and then you can cut off any excess. And so then I'm just now knotting down the strands together. So at the end it should look like this, where you have that little loop at the end of your mitten cap. And then I like these metal needles that have a wide eye, so we're able to fit our yarn through them, but it's also small enough to fit through the holes of the button. And then you kind of just gauge where you want your button to go on your mitten. And so I even kind of just try it on, flip the finger cap over, and then kind of just see where you want it. It's about right there in the middle. And then we'll take some extra yarn and we will sew down our button. And then I sew it through the buttonholes a few times, and then before I knot down the end pieces of the yarn and weave them in and cut them off, just make sure it's where you want the button and test it out, make sure it all fits, and then I knotted them and cut off the excess. And so here is just the remainder of the video putting together a left-handed mitten for you. And again, you want the hole of your thumb hole to be facing the left, and then you want to take your tail ends of your yarn and you want to whip stitch the part closest to you. And a little trick you can do to make sure you have the handing the correct way is take some stitch markers and pin your mitten together to make sure where you're going to stitch is the correct way. Put it on your hand, and then you'll know where to stitch. So thank you so much for watching my tutorials. I hope you enjoy making your flip top convertible mittens. Please like and follow for more. And I have this yarn and the materials that I used in my Amazon storefront in my link there on my bio if you would like to check that out. I do make commissions on any of the orders, and I use that to help fund making the videos and the supplies for my videos. Happy crafting!